Today's a rally to bring awareness to motorcycle safety. Our message for the public is watch for motorcycles. They're harder to see than larger vehicles, and they represent a substantial number of fatalities in the state. This is a chance to talk to the public and present our Watch for Motorcycles message. It's a rally from motorcycle clubs across the state.
How serious is the problem of motorcycle accidents in Louisiana?
Last year we had 93 motorcycle fatalities. It's very substantial.
What's the best advice for motorists when they're driving?
Always look and look again. Motorcycles are difficult to see, so we try and tell people you actually need to see, not just look.
We're here today is the kickoff of Motorcycle Awareness Month. Every year the governor proclaims May as Motorcycle Awareness Month, and we just get everybody together to come and make people aware of us.
What are some of the issues when it comes to motorcycle safety?
Well, the biggest issue that we're dealing with is people who are not aware of motorcycles on the highways. Our mission is to make sure that they are aware that we're around. It's a subliminal thing that we do. We put out a lot of ads. We do a lot of stuff just to kind of get that message going to them every day of the week.
What suggestions do you have for motorists as they're driving?
Well, the best thing I could suggest for a motorist as they're driving is if you're pulling through an intersection, just look a second time before you pull out, just to make sure. Motorcycles are very hard to see, and it's very hard to judge their speed. So just take that second look before you pull out.
I've been riding a motorcycle on and off for over 40 years. I've been with the GWRA for the last 8 years. And I found out that if you do not pay proper attention, anything could happen, such as to me trying to get on the interstate one day. I looked to see where traffic was behind me, and I actually drove right off the road and laid my motorcycle down. So you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention.
What advice do you have for motorists?
For motorists, look for us. We're out there on the road. Please share the road with us. You'll see the helmets, you'll see the riding clothes, hopefully brightly colored, and just look over your shoulder. Make sure you tell your kids, instead of looking for the punch buggy, look for the punch bike. Kids, tell your parents, we're out there.
I started riding when I was in junior high and rode through high school, and then I stopped and started again at about 50, and I'm 65 now. I've been riding for about 15 years since, on a variety of bikes.
What have you seen while driving a bike that has been hazardous?
Well, you have to watch out for the other guy, even more so than in an automobile, because sometimes they can't see you because you're not wide enough. Yeah.
What advice would you have for motorists?
For motorists, look twice. Before you pull out in front of somebody, look both ways twice.
I've been riding with my husband about 7 years, but I've had my own bike for almost 3.
Tell us about motorcycle safety.
We are in the Go Wing Road Riders Association, and we take safety classes constantly. We take trike course, rider courses, first aid CPR, team riding. So we're constantly taking safety classes.
Tell us about some of the things that you've seen when you've been on your bike that have been close calls.
The main thing you have to look out for are the four-wheel cars. Because, you know, we're trained to ride the bikes, but the cars, you see a lot of texting on the road, so you really have to be aware of the vehicles.
Today is all about motorcycle awareness and motorcycle safety, and that's a two-way street. You see a lot of people now that just don't believe that motorcycles should be a part of the road. Therefore, their driving habits can create accidents and sometimes really kill those who are riding these bikes. So it's a share the road philosophy as well, that both vehicles have time and should be treated courteously on the road. At the same time, we want to make sure we encourage our people in the motorcycling world to make sure safety is priority. Make sure they follow all the rules and regulations. And the second thing we try to emphasize over and over again is to drive sober. Don't be on that bike and then you veer off into another lane, or else you get killed basically for not being sober and watching the other driver as well. Let me welcome all of you, and especially those who are visiting us from other parts of the state and other states as well. This is a great and proud tradition that we share, you know, not only if you ride a bike, but at the same time we love people who are out there active and doing a lot of things to help the community. And that's what you're all about. I mean, this is one thing that you do, but look at overall. And just when you heard that song, we are proud to be Americans.
at least we know we're free. When you're out on that highway talking about freedom, I wish I had more hair so it could blow in the wind. But it's such a great time and a great family that we share with today. And let me say a special thanks to those that, especially in the Baton Rouge chapter, Louisiana chapter. You know, we need to let people know that we don't have to compete for the road. There are two different vehicles, but yet both are entitled to the road. And at the same time, we need to make sure we are our brother's keeper or our sister's keeper when we're on that highway and show mutual respect. But you cannot just stop there. When you're talking about these who are riding those bikes, they also do training to make sure things are fine. But they also say something that's very, very real. Sober. When you're riding those vehicles, make sure you're sober. But that also applies to drivers as well. But when you look at the statistics of those who've been injured, they are staggering. So we say today, as we celebrate this great event, Motorcycle Awareness Month, know that this, don't ever go into retrenchment. Stand up for the cause. Ride for the cause. Make people proud for the cause. And never turn around, because we're moving forward faster and we're going to be better. God bless you and God bless America. Welcome.
I appreciate an opportunity to be here to help bring awareness to motorcycle safety. It's a critical thing, and Louisiana can certainly do better. We're asking all drivers to watch for motorcycles. Remind everyone to share the road. And the bottom line is motorcycles are harder to see than other larger vehicles. And what we like to tell people is you really need to see, not just look. See, not just look. I wish I could say that last year was safer for motorcyclists. Unfortunately, you heard that 93 people passed away last year. That's an increase above 83 from 2014. In 2014, more than 1/3 of the fatal motorcycle crashes in Louisiana were single vehicle only. There was no vehicle involved other than the motorcycle. Also in 2014, 34% of the fatal crashes involved a drunk driver. For fatal crashes that involved a motorcycle, that percentage was significantly higher, for 40%. All vehicle operators, cars and motorcycles, need to understand, and Mayor Holden said this earlier, understand the dangers of driving and drinking. Okay. We ask everyone to remember that even one traffic fatality is too much. Our goal is destination zero, and to get there, everyone needs to be aware of motorcycles, watch for motorcycles and other vulnerable road users, use all of our safety equipment, and never drink and drive. Thank you, Joe.
Never drink and ride. We have a policy within our MAC organization that not even one beer if you're going to be riding. That's the safe thing. A lot of people say that, you know, I'm a better rider when I drink, and you know, there's some information that I've heard that actually does say that if you've had a few, you know, you're a better rider. The fact is, what they've discovered is, if you drink even one beer, it's the decision making that you're not as good at anymore. You may react quicker and up until a certain point, but your reaction time dwindles, and that leads to bad results.
I want to thank y'all all for being here, for helping support our cause. I want to thank God for this beautiful weather, because, you know, if we weren't here, we would be riding somewhere on the road enjoying this beautiful weather. We want to thank the mayor for welcoming us and hosting us and doing a wonderful job. Thank you for this great state that's going to allow us to proclaim the whole month as Motorcycle Awareness Month. We hope that this will just make riding safer. We also want to thank God for this great country, and Lord, please help us through the next election. It's a privilege to be here to talk in front of you. It's a privilege, for one thing, to be asked. Number two, it's a privilege to be here since I'm alive. 6 years ago, my wife and I were on a gull wing out near Toledo Bend, and we were between Anacoco and Toledo Bend. It was a Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock. Weather a little cooler than this. We had on our 3/4 helmets, gloves, chaps, boots, jackets, all the thing. We were on a country road, 111, no traffic. We have no memory of any traffic. Next thing we know, it was 4 o'clock. I mean, it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Next thing we know, waking up in the hospital. Neither one of us remember the accident. What happened was somebody on a Rhino was riding on the shoulder, cut in front of us, and I teed it, because there's pictures of my motorcycle in this magazine, and the front wheel has a notch, so evidently it hit between the steering and the seat. We were doing about 55, 60. We locked, my wife flew over, hit the roll bar on the Rhino, fell in the bed of the Rhino. Even though she had a helmet, she had 43 stitches right here. She had a class 3 or class 4 concussion. The Gold Wing and I went down the right front corner and plowed for about 70 feet. And they airlifted me in a helicopter over to Rapides General in Alexandria. But so God is behind all this. He's the one who allows me to be here. Because like I say, a lot of times when I'm talking, I kind of have that survivor's guilt, why me? There's been other people with accidents and they haven't survived. But for whatever reason, God has me here, and maybe it's to be here today to talk to y'all. And I'm kind of naming this the luckiest guy talk. November of 14, they did a little article in the Lake Charles area on the Lanyap, and my wife and I are on the cover. They called me the luckiest guy. The luckiest guy came out during the interview with the writer, and it was because I was telling him I got to ride a motorcycle every day to work. And it's obvious the luckiest guy I'm still alive too. But in my mind, I had friends with airplanes, people with big boats. But those guys can only ride or fly, once on the weekend, once a month. I was riding every day the weather was nice. So I thought I was the luckiest guy in the world. And I had 2 bikes. I had a Gold Wing and a Victory. And one week I'd ride one week I'd ride the other. And heaven help me if there was trouble with one of them, hardly ever the Gold Wing, I'll get to ride the other bike. And anyway, so we want to thank all of y'all. We want to hope that this brings awareness to all drivers to make this a safer and better world. May we all live to ride. May our children and grandchildren, that we have the right to and that we can enjoy it. Thank you.
If you decide to ride, even if you're riding, the best course you can take is right there in the parking lot 101. You get on your bike, you go out in that parking lot, you do figure eights, you do, sharp turns, you do fast stops, you do all of those things that you can do to make you a better rider. There's lots of courses to take. You want to do that too. But I'm telling you, parking lot 101 is the best you can do. Now, practice, gives you control. That it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. You need to practice. You need to become a confident rider. We don't always have control over that outcome, but, nothing is promised. Riding in a car, riding on a bike. You just need to do your best. So don't just get out there and go with the crowd and think you're going to be just fine. Decide to wear the gear, follow the rules, and learn how to drive that bike.
We have brochures on this very subject. I want to tell you something, people, we could save more lives doing that than motorcycle awareness. I sincerely believe it. That left turn violation, when you're going north, the car's coming south and they turn in front of you. This is not just new people. This is people who have been riding for years that happens to them. You got to be aware of that. No matter how long you've been riding, no matter how well you think you are, how much you know, be aware of that. If you see a car approaching you, going the opposite way, and it looks like they might have a chance to turn, it doesn't have to have the direction signal on. If they're slowing down, if there's a place for them to turn and pass in front of you, please be aware. And of course, the second one, everybody knows the intersections. Please be aware of that. We've got brochures on that. You can take those brochures and bring it to your local dealers and ask them if they'll put that brochure in their motorcycle packets when they sell them a new motorcycle. Let me know that, and I'll send them a bunch of them. We want those things out there.
If people have questions like more information about the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission, what should they do?
Should go to our website or give us a call at the office. That's area code 225-925-6991.